Guys, it's your girl Najwa. I am so happy you're here. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. It's a wonderful way you can help out my growing little community here, and it's also a way for you to always know whenever I post a video. So hit the little bell, says subscribe, and then hit the little bell, and you'll know whenever I post a video. So Coronation, takeaways, afterthoughts. It's done. It's in the past. For some of you guys, you're probably saying, thank goodness it's done. It's in the past. Harry and Meghan's car chase is something that now that the coronation is over and that has happened, it definitely puts a different light on me. I said I would wait, for after the coronation to come back to you guys with some final thoughts and things and just key takeaways, and that factors into it. So I'm glad that I waited kind of a little bit, kind of really took a beat to, kind of talk about it and really let it digest and do some research and things like that. I'm going to say a few things. First of all, in light of Harry and Meghan's car chase and still the royal family not really taking this moment to say, hey, we stick up for our people. We got our people's back. The fact that, and it's allegedly said that King Charles hasn't even talked to Prince Harry since the car chase happened last week. So I think that right there tells you all you need to know. The British royal family, which you guys know I used to be such an Anglophile. I studied art history in school, and I just feel like I got duped. I'm seeing all this really problematic stuff that they're doing right now to groups, minority groups that I am a part of, and I just can't stomach it. But they've had so many chances to speak out, to do something for Harry and Meghan, and they have not taken them. Repeatedly, over and over and over again, they've been given chances to show that they have some semblance of a spine and some semblance of a heart and say, hey, we don't condone racism. Hey, paparazzi, don't chase down my daughter-in-law and my son, or my brother and my sister-in-law, whatever. Don't chase them down. Like, seriously, who does that? They've had every chance to come in and say, hey, we stand for women of all colors. Hey, Commonwealth. They've had every chance to do that. They've had every chance to take a realistic look at the British monarchy and its hand in the transatlantic slave trade and the systemic racism and prejudice that people have faced in the past due to the monarchy and its association with, I'm Catholic, but ironically, its association with the Crusaders, and then that all went away just because one guy wanted to get a divorce. And the wife that he took after that divorce, he ended up beheading. That's why we got the Church of England. So it's just like, I really don't have any ardent desire in me to see the monarchy disappear. I'm not a Commonwealth person. I'm American. I live in France. And so I don't have an emotional attachment to it. But I see my Commonwealth sisters and brothers out there from Australia, from Kenya, from different parts of the world who are associated with the stains on history with the British monarchy. And I can see that they are so emotionally attached to it because that is their history. So I don't really feel like I have a place to speak on it, but at the same time, I feel like I have to say as an American, because America comes from the United Kingdom, America is a group of rebellious leaders who basically said, we don't want to deal with this anymore. And so they created a new reality or a new truth for them. But still, those roots come from the British Empire, from the British monarchy that has raged and trailblazed through time on tops of human bodies, Every chance that the monarchy has had to set that right. And do not deny yourself in believing that kind of sheltering yourself and kind of cozying up getting into that fetal position of white privilege that kind of doesn't want to look at it, doesn't want to think about that stuff. Hey, we've moved on. We've moved on. That coming from that place is what perpetuates it. But you can set it right. I truly, as an optimist, believe that in my heart. This can be set right. It begins with emotional intelligence, with compassion, with listening. Not always believing you have all the answers. Listening to those black and brown minority voices, those female voices, those LGBTQ voices that you've drowned out for millennia. Listening to them and maybe trying things their way for once instead of continuously going about your way and then, making a change here, making a change there, and labeling it as modernized. And don't get it wrong, guys. People are really, really concerned. Even from what I have read online, after the coronation, even some of the most avid monarchists are questioning, guys, we only have 4 people on that royal photo who are under the age of 70. We don't have Meghan Markle on the balcony, so there's no representation there. Guys, we have people, protesters. I saw on LBC, they're saying you can't protest anymore. Members of parliament are saying you can't peacefully protest. That it's silencing to another level. People are looking at the oath that people had to take at the coronation, and they're saying, this doesn't read well to me. Something's funky with this. Something's icky with this. Because Charles has the chance to garner loyalty in a way that is through connection, like his mother did. He's had that chance all throughout his life. It's never clicked. It's just, that is the way that the spoiled persona that exudes white privilege, white male privilege, patriarchy, just sort of privilege that has never ever taken a moment to just even wrap their head around, oh, there are people different with me, different skin colors, different parts, different pieces, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic classes, and their feelings, their experiences are just as valid and should be integrated in this monarchy, because this monarchy is supposed to represent the people. The people of Great Britain has changed. And it's not those brown and black people who are in Britain's fault that they're there. If you want to sit there and complain about, there's always going to be no good deed doers, those are the kind of comments that I see, when you see the African, the Commonwealth, the brown, the young, LGBTQ, whatever, alternative, the other people protesting. There will be people who are obviously avid guard dogs of the monarchy who will come in the comments all across all platforms. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I see it all over. And they'll say, there'll always be no good deed doers. There'll always be troublemakers. Is this what you call black and brown people and minorities and women and LGBTQ people? And specifically for black and brown people, they are not there out of their own choice. They are now, but their ancestors who originally came there, who were the ones why their great and great 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 and great 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 grandchildren are there, is because they were stolen from their lands and brought to the UK as slaves. And now those people have an education, have jobs, have cars, have status, have homes, have representation in your country. But still, the white race is up here and the minority groups are down here. And the minority groups say, hey, we've garnered education, we've garnered assimilation, we've assimilated into your culture. We've garnered emotional intelligence and growth and sort of moved forward from our generational trauma. We've done the test of time. We've traveled through these parts of time and history, through the lands of this country, which we call our home. Can we come up here now? Can we all be up here? But consistently, what's being shown, from what I take away from this coronation, the 250 million pounds spent on it, the protesters, the peaceful protesters being persecuted, the fact that the one black member, African American member of the royal family that you have, and her mixed race children aren't up on that balcony. And don't tell me that it's because of the Sussexes they're not on that balcony. The reason that the Sussexes are in the United States of America right now is because of systemic prejudice that's being perpetuated in the UK. And the UK has had so many times to take a stance, and to take more stances, and to take more stances. I mean, honey, that should be your full devotion, full objective. It's just stances after stances after stances. When you look at Denmark, okay, the most liberal constitutional monarchy, they took a look at interracial relationships, at brown and black groups, and they said, hey, we're going to speak up for you. Go figure. We're going to speak up for you. They took a look at climate change. Hey, they said, oh, okay, we're going to speak up for you. We're going to speak up for you marginalized groups, affected by climate change. We're going to speak up for you. Denmark is constantly showing, and then while Denmark also has its sordid past that has to do with slavery, I mean, most wealthy European nations do, okay? But at least they're confronting it head on. At least they don't try to whitewash history. And I can see from direct testimonials of those black Brits, my black British brothers and sisters, from what I see them saying online, they are not being given history as it is. They're being given a version of history that still keeps spinning the UK monarchy as, hey, we weren't really involved in that. And, very soon you guys are going to see a review of Queen Charlotte. I finally finished it. Ugh. I mean, I didn't like it so much, but, we'll get to that. And, many of these reasons that I'm stating here is why I wasn't in love with Queen Charlotte, because these same levels of systemic prejudice is weaved all up in it. And you can try and honey it up as much as you can, but as T. Sattel says, you can't just put a cilantro garnish on a bunch of poop and just be like, oh, okay, well, it's gourmet, No, it is still poop. And we keep seeing that, the monarchy actually thinking, oh, well, hey, we had some brown and black faces and women's faces, integrated within the coronation. And so, we're modern. And Charles is like, hey, the oil, the holy oil that was anointed on my head was organically sourced and ethically sourced. And so, it's made with organic olives and fruits. And so, it's all good. That's less of the people's concern. I think that the other senior royals are so detached from people, the everyday person's concern, which the everyday person, even taking minority groups out of it, even just other white people, a lot of other white people are literally looking at this and saying, you are so tone deaf. You are so missing the point of what's going on right now, right? And you don't even understand it. 250 million pounds spent on this coronation. People are starving. People are hungry. People are cold. And you know what? It's like all of this extravagance and pomp pushed up, and it's not even real. It's not even real. Like, quite literally, the tabloids in the UK have some sort of dirt on Charles and Camilla. Something. They have something. Even though, as I've said, I look completely neutrally at Charles and Camilla. They do nothing for me. If anything, I just feel pity for them. Because I can see that they are pawns of the trashy UK media. But at the same time, they're also moving the chess pieces in their complicity, And so whatever they have on Charles, whatever they have on Camilla is so deep that even when Charles's own son is involved in a dangerous car chase that could have ended like the tragedy that ended Diana's life, he can't even say anything. He won't say anything. So, my takeaways from the coronation, high level stuff. So, and I don't know if I mentioned it. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but there's also speculation, really even from the royal expert realm, not just in Sussex Squad area, not just me, even the people who are behind Charles, backing him, rooting him on, encouraging him, are also questioning, is he unwell? You know, the swollen fingers, the sort of listless face that he had during that whole coronation. People are wondering, is he unwell? Okay? Harry and Meghan, since the coronation, went on to have a crazy car chase that could have ended in tragedy. Luckily, they were extremely smart. And we find out, I watched Sussexsquad Squad TV, you know, I caught up on a bunch of my stuff, and apparently William's friends, his circles, are out there commenting to tabloids, mocking, you know, the car chase. And that was the whole strategy of that trashy UK tabloid media, was to mock Harry and Meghan's experience with that. And all the other people who were probably scared crapless, seeing these paparazzi speeding throughout the city, this high-speed chase. Okay, maybe Harry and Meghan in their car were going, following the speed limit, following the rules, but these paparazzi swarms, they were not. They were rolling over curbs. They were driving in front of the car. I mean, just think of what a swarm of bees looks like. I mean, bees are small, but that's scary. That's what this was like, you know? And someone from the NYPD actually came in, because I know there was a lot of speculation online about, like, oh, well, you know, the taxi driver said this, and the mayor of New York made it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal with this one small piece of his statement. They took that small piece of the statement out of context, of course, like they always do. But someone from the NYPD literally came in and said, no, this was serious. This was really serious. This was a high-speed chase. Even if Harry and Meghan and their team were doing everything that they could to follow the rules as strictly as they can, so they could say, you got nothing on me. Dude, at this point, Prince Harry, like my husband, is like an honorary black person. He so is. I mean, I'm just kidding, but at the same time, I'm so serious. Like, dude, inside of him is like a Mutombo, like, black dude. Like, you don't let the ginger hair and, like, the face fool you. But I truly believe that. At his spirit, at his core. You know, the only thing that has helped us black and brown people really come forward is our hope and our faith. I mean, old Negro spirituals in the U.S., you know, which I know the experience between black people in the U.S. and the U.K. is different, but again, we came from the U.K., and they like to make it seem like, oh, a lot of blacks in the 18th century fled to the U.K. because life was so much more peaceful there. Okay, Windrush. But anyway, you know, black people, the reason that even though we're a marginalized group in general in the U.S. and the UK, we don't have as much equity as white people. We're not getting paid as much money. We're not living in as good as neighborhoods, you know, on average, you know. And I'm not saying that all of us are living in terrible neighborhoods. But when you look at the white race and you look at the black race, generally across the board, in areas of well-being, of wellness, of shelter, food, water, you know, we're not receiving the same. In areas of work, of administration, of the government, we're not receiving the same. In terms of representation within the workforce, within the government, within the administration, we're not there. You know, we're not there as much. We're not as prevalent. And there is a reason for that. But there's also a reason why the white race also suffers more depression and deaths of despair than the black race does. Because even though, and again, speaking about the U.S., but I think in the UK, if I were to talk to some of my British sisters and brothers, I would get some similar thoughts. despite all of that, in general, we're happier. We're experiencing less depression. And now I don't mean during COVID. I mean in general, because keeping hope has always had to be a part of our ethos because nobody else would do it for us. So hope and faith and family and staying woke has always been integrated in the Black experience in order to not let the negativity and the persecution that's out there in the world break us down. That's always been what's propelled us forward. And you know what's usually helped that out a little bit, like I've said many times on this channel, is a few woke white friends to help us, to give us a hand along the way. Now, there are some people, when they see you down, they're going to push you down and laugh. Those woke white people, like Prince Harry, they're the ones who gave us a hand. They're the ones who chose to see us behind this color of skin or the parts that we have. And Charles, Camilla, William, Kate, none of them are showing that. We've also seen since the coronation that William and his alleged mistress, apparently her son was integrated into the coronation. Some people read into that as being maybe a parallel with Charles's relationship with Camilla. We know that Camilla came from literally side piece royalty, and Charles was always very, very, very committed to her, you know. And so So the key takeaways, peaceful protesters taken out. Harry and Meghan's car chase after the coronation. Charles showed absolutely no interest in sticking up for his son. William showed no interest in sticking up for his brother. People are concerned about Charles's health and the future of the monarchy. Young people, primarily, specifically. Black, brown, marginalized group, LGBTQ, still not satisfied. And every chance that they get, the monarchy does not take up the chance to show that they have a heart. Lastly, the big kahuna, what we keep seeing, the trashy tabloid media in the UK has to go. It has to go. Like, literally, even Charles and Camilla, who we see are not so emotionally intelligent, I can also still tell and feel bad that I see that they're also under the boot of the UK tabloid media. When the king of your country literally is under the boot of the tabloid media, it's bad. So, reform. British people watching, please advocate to your parliament. Reform. And I think that we can leave it there. Let's leave it there because, yeah, I think that we're going to see more developments. I don't think that this is my last video of follow-up after the coronation. I think that, more stuff is going to keep highlighting the fact that the crown can't just bury its head and try its very best to ignore the fact that its media needs reformed. It needs to be reformed so desperately. And so, talk to your members of parliament. You can literally write them an email. Right now, I'm looking into what the buzz is around the internet between other squaddies, you know, what the buzz is about the action items at hand and what we can do. I know that we're all out here raging. We're all out here raging and literally speaking up for Harry and Meghan, speaking up for equality and tolerance, and nothing is happening with the UK. You know, it's still running down that hamster wheel. I'm going to do some deep research into this, and over the coming months, we really will keep revisiting this because there's no choice that we have. You know, if we really want to rage so that for the next generation, some change has really happened. Not fake change, not, oh, we we made such modern updates to the coronation. No, real change. You know, people understand these days. They're not as easily swayed as before, you know. I just think that a mentality shift needs to happen. You know, Rupert Murdoch really was behind a lot of this stuff. You know, a lot of these bad media practices that are happening in the UK and in the US. Now he's coming under reckoning, but it's like it's a little bit too late. Too little, too late. Because now this system of getting people all pumped up and, you know, hyped up and swollen and big headed and puffed headed and blockheaded over literally, blockheaded, maybe that's not the best word, but literally all puffed up over, you know, fake media, fear-mongering, hateful media. Oh, that was the one thing that I want to say. So, since the coronation, Nigel Farage has come forward and admitted that Brexit was a failure. And just to remind you, some of the same staunch advocates that have been saying from the beginning, Harry and Meghan are a liar, Harry and Meghan, we embrace them with open arms from the beginning, we love them from the beginning, and Brexit was wonderful, like we still will stand up to Brexit, even though the shelves in the grocery stores are empty and people are hungry and going to food banks more, like we still think Brexit was a good idea. You know, just digging heels in. That is what that persona of white privilege does. That is what that persona of the colonizer who really takes no accounting of people, that those being colonized, what was in their head, you know, where they were at, how they had a whole life before you even showed up. That is that mentality. That's that mentality also of sort of this individualistic, even though the monarchy, okay, it's based on a sense of community, you know, looking at Eastern culture, Western culture, looking at, you know, European sort of Eurocentric stuff, looking at African stuff, Latin American stuff, you know, sometimes Asian, you know, like it's really over here in Europe is like we got the colonizer and we got the colonized. You got to pick one of those two. You know, but when you come from other faith and cultural traditions, like from on my side, you know, from African-based tradition or from Iberic or Latino-based tradition, generally those are collectivist groups. They're based on collectivist ideals, philosophies that we have to all be in this together. And so when people who have been integrated into UK society, but they're brown or black or sometimes other marginalized groups, but mostly the brown or black people I want to talk about in this specific instance, say, hey, you know, we had a whole culture before you guys stole us and brought us over here. So now we're here. Times have changed. We've been integrated into society. You should be able to take a little advice, you know, like, since we established that civilization existed before you came and colonized, you know, it's like maybe we need to do a hodgepodge of all of this. Can we do a little bit of individualism here, a little bit of collectivism here, you know, and that persona of white privilege, of, you know, fascism, of pro-male, pro-white, pro-patriarchy, white supremacy, what, all of that, you know, even if you, in ways you don't notice, you know, like when we talk about Queen Charlotte, I'm really going to talk a lot about colorism. I feel like in the UK, like there's really no sense of colorism right now. But when you realize that, you realize, oh, I get it. All you want from me is really to be included, to have decision making. And for me to not think that my way is always the highway, or my way is the right way and your way is the highway. Okay, the moment that we can get to that place, we'll be good. But when will that happen? You know, like seeing this play out, it hurts my heart more and more every day. Oh, but anyway, very soon, some other stuff coming to you guys. I am going to talk about my visit to Hampton Court Palace, where Henry VIII so famously reigned. in the UK, and I think there's paranormal activity there, because I don't know if I told you guys, on my way leading up to the apartments of Henry VIII on those stairs, I literally got so faint, and I felt like I felt spirits of that time walking. There's a famous video, so we're going to do a video about Hampton Court Palace and see if there's some paranormal type stuff there. I know that's a little bit out of context here, but this is also, I want to show that, you know, as someone who's actually studied British art history, there is a living pulse within that country, you know, and a lot of it is on the bootstraps of wars and, you know, slavery and war heroes and, you know, oh Lord, like a lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff, plagues, famine, you know. So I'm gonna do something about that. There was also, I think it was also at Hampton Court Palace, but I can't even be sure. There is a video that shows Queen Elizabeth I's ghost slamming the doors closed. And I think this was really interesting because Queen Elizabeth I had an extremely intricate surveillance system going on. I mean, this thing is British. Just white people like with binoculars spying. That's something that comes from like the monarchy, baby. That's like history. It's like CCTV before CCTV. You know, just people just watching. And yeah, I want to talk about that. I think that there's some true tragedy and hurt and pain and suffering and blood and sweat and tears and wounds that's deep within the foundation and the fabric of UK history, within the history of the monarchy. And until we start having very real conversations about that, the monarchy is going to disappear. And you guys will have missed out on wonderful opportunities to propel your nation forward. So really try to understand what I'm saying here. Any royal experts out there listening, any plants for the firm, just give me a heads up, you know. Deciphering Twitter for you, if you will. I can be like your Twitter, you know, like your black Twitter interpreter, you know. But anyway, guys, I would love to know what you think. I think the coronation was beautiful, but I think that the UK monarchy is, as someone who used to be an Anglophile, I can't say if I still am, but as someone who studied art history, who still has quite a reverence for British art, British literature, British media, British actors, film, including black British art, black British entertainers, media. You know, I really hate to see this country taking these huge steps of fault. Okay, so I hope that, you know, people out there will listen, and yeah, I think that's it. But this won't be the last video, I think, covering afterthoughts of the coronation, because more and more we're going to, you know, see things and see how they take what social media is really. I mean, I think that social media can be a very toxic place, but in this instance where the social media has said, hey dude, you guys gotta be a little bit more emotionally intelligent and acknowledge your history, stop whitewashing stuff, you know, take a stance for Harry and Meghan. I think, yeah, maybe eventually they might start to listen, but I don't know. But we'll have more of these after coronation afterthoughts to come. That's basically just to say that. So if you're new here, please click the like and subscribe button, hit the bell so you know whenever I post a video. Guys, I would love to hear your thoughts. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Just say it respectfully, and I will see you guys in the next video. Again, this is your girl Najwa. I'm so happy you're here. Okay, bye guys. Bye.